Hey guys, I'm Samuel the Aviator, and today I have a big announcement. We just bought a Piper Aztec. Alright guys, so for a while now, me and my parents have been talking about getting a roomier plane, something that will seat at least 5 people, maybe 6 occasionally, as I have 3 siblings and then 2 parents as well, so that would make a family of 6 people. And if you've been on my channel at all, you've seen my Cherokee 180 that I fly, and that can only carry 4 people, and if you have 4 people you're only carrying half or 3/4 tanks of fuel. So we were kind of on the hunt for a true 6-seat airplane, and we had a couple of options. We looked at a Baron 58, we also looked at a Piper Seneca as well as a Saratoga, and we also looked at a Piper Aztec. And what we found was the room in the Senecas and the Barons were just not good. You really couldn't fit 6 people in there all at once, and in the Seneca, the useful load just wasn't good enough. And we had also looked at a couple 6-seat singles, but the concern there was, as well as room and performance, was safety. You know, you would only have one engine, and if that goes out, you know, then you're effectively a glider. So we set out to find the perfect twin engine airplane, something with a really good useful load, something that could fly on one engine in most cases. You wouldn't be losing a ton of altitude. Something that had decent speed but wasn't, you know, crazy fast. It didn't have to be real fast, and something that was, you know, relatively inexpensive to operate for a twin. And we settled on this 1978 Piper Aztec F model. I won't do a ton in detail on the performance of this specific plane because I want to save that for a full review of this Aztec, so make sure you stick around for that. But what I will tell you is it cruises probably between 150 and 170 and burns between 25 and 30 gallons an hour at those speeds. So it's fairly economical for a twin, and the useful load on this is over 2,000 pounds. So it's great for a family. Alright guys, so I was actually looking on Controller at Aztecs, and we weren't seriously looking to lock one down at the time, but I noticed a reasonably priced Aztec on, I believe it was Controller, and it was actually the cheapest Aztec F model there was. And the first thing we then did was we contacted our broker and had him get in contact with the seller. And we actually did use a broker for the purchase, which I think was a good move. It really helped to have someone experienced in purchasing an aircraft. Although we had already purchased one, the purchase value was a lot less on our Cherokee. And a big purchase like this, it's really good to have someone help guide you through. So he contacted the seller. We kind of worked on a couple issues, and I believe we then signed a contract at that point, contingent upon passing pre-buy. So then we got the airplane into pre-buy. We got a real experienced mechanic who was familiar with Aztec models to do the pre-buy. And everything went fairly smoothly in the pre-buy. There was no super major issues. There were a couple issues with some repairs and a Garrett landing many years ago that we needed to find the 337 forms, which we did then. And we also had to wait a very long time to get our oil analysis. We actually never got that back till we closed on the plane. So we me and my dad actually went down to Virginia where the pre-buy was being done, and we kind of helped the mechanic a little bit on the pre-buy as well as look through. So we kind of got a first-hand experience of what we were doing. This has been maintained by a Part 135 company for most of its life, or a couple different Part 135 companies. So we know the maintenance was done very well on it, which is a really good thing. So after the pre-buy inspection, we went back home and we worked with our broker some more to try and work on the price a little bit for the issues that this plane had. We wanted IFR checks done, as well as the janitorial heater in the nose compartment was not working at the time. So the seller agreed to fix those issues for us. So we moved forward with that, and this actually was kind of a long purchase. We kind of started working on the paperwork, I think, in early August, or that's kind of when we found the plane, and we just closed here in the first week of September. So that was a real interesting experience. It was kind of a longer drawn out thing, but it was kind of good in the sense that we got that done. We did a pre-buy, we got the whole works done. We also went through a title company for the title and the registration, so we have that going through as well. So it was real nice to do things that way instead of just trying to purchase the plane ourselves and try and find someone to do the pre-buy and do the title work and everything. It was real nice having a broker, and our broker was truly excellent, guiding us through everything. So we closed on the plane, and we actually drove down to Virginia the day before, which is kind of a laugh because I get used to flying everywhere, and it took 2 or 3 hours the last time we flew down to Virginia in our Cherokee. And we rented a car and dropped it off down in Virginia and flew back, and it actually took us practically all day to drive down to Virginia from Ohio. So it just made me be thankful for flying in the first place and getting used to being to places a lot faster. So we flew it home with our broker, and our broker was actually a CFI, and he's got a lot of experience in the Aztec, so I was able to fly it back left seat, which was a really amazing experience. I think I've got some clips. I'll try and insert them here if I can. So we flew back, and it truly was, it flew great. We had a little issue with the engine temperature on the one engine. We got that kind of under control. Other than that, it flew real well. It really does, it's not, it flies like a plane. It's definitely bigger and heavier and faster than a Cherokee, but it's nothing out of control. If you manage well and you're anticipating further ahead, you really shouldn't have any issues stepping up to something like an Aztec. And I already had my high performance and complex ratings, as well as sometime in a high performance single. So even though I'm not multi-engine rated yet, I have a little experience in faster planes that are complex. So it wasn't as much of a learning curve just to fly it back left seat with some assistance from a CFI. Now that I'm back, my plans are to get my multi-engine in this plane, and so I look forward to seeing some multi-engine flying on this channel. I'll be using this plane hopefully quite a bit, so keep a lookout for that. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over a little bit of the features of this specific plane, and then I'm going to explain a little bit what the plans are for the future of this plane here. So this plane has as far as the panel goes, it's got a Garmin 430 WAS and a 6-place Garmin intercom. The second navcom, as you could see earlier, was a little weak, as well as it doesn't have an ADS-B out transponder. So we're going to hopefully in the near future get a GTX 345 in and out transponder that's going to hook to the 430. as well as some point get a paint job done for this, because this is original paint. Although it's held up pretty well, the airplane's been mostly hangared its whole life. We need to get the paint done at some point, so hopefully in the next, I don't really want to give a time frame, but hopefully in the future you'll see a new paint job on this. Hopefully I can actually do some video work on getting the paint done and what's involved with that. And as I'm sure you noticed earlier, the interior is original as well. So we're really hoping to get that interior redone and really get this plane really state of the art. The right engine has only 600 hours since major overhaul, so the right engine's in super good shape. The left engine has 1900 hours since major, although I believe 600 hours ago that whole lower end and crankcase was rebuilt and the crankshaft was replaced. I believe that was from an AD. So really it's got 600 hours on the bottom end and then 1930 on the top end. So we'll see. It's not using any oil. The compressions are really good. The oil analysis is good on the engine. So at this point there's no reason to rebuild it right away, although we might do so in the future. We're just going to keep an eye on it, and we may do the top end and really extend the life of the engine. So we'll see what we want to do on that. As you saw earlier, the panel was pretty decent. It's almost enough for what we need it to do. We need that ADS-B, and we might also put in a engine monitor at some point. It would be really nice to have for these two engines, because all we have is the original gauges. So we'd have cylinder head temperature, exhaust gas, and then engine oil temperature. And some of the gauges are old. They don't work half the time. I don't think they're as accurate as they could be. So that's something we might want to look forward to in the future. Alright, so this plane has two Lycoming IO 540 engines, I believe. They are D-rated to 250 horsepower. They are injected. It has a 184 gallon tank, so it's long range. You really can fly a long time if you pull the engines back. And as I mentioned before, it's got a 2,000 pound useful load with 6 really well-sized seats and 2 cargo compartments. The back cargo compartment really is big, and the nose compartment's pretty generous as well. You can put 150 pounds in each of those. So what can you get for the least expensive Aztec F on the market? Well, you really can get quite a lot. As you saw here, everything on this plane mostly works. It needs little mechanical things taken care of here and there, but it's an annual. IFR checks are done, altimeter checks are done. It really flies well, handles great, needs a little paint here in the future. The interior is in good shape, so it's not an emergency to have that done. The panel's pretty decent. So overall, I'm really happy with our purchase, and I'm really looking forward to doing more videos with this. A couple quick things I want to say is, although I'm doing videos with this plane, and we'll be flying this plane in the future, I did not purchase this plane myself. This is my parents' plane, so I don't want people to get the ideas that, you know, I'm going and buying a bunch of planes at this age, because that's not the case. But I'm very thankful for that my parents are allowing me to film with this plane here, and I really look forward to making videos in the future. I also want to thank John Calhoun of Fresh Aircraft Sales. He was very good all through the purchase process, getting back to us, reassuring us, working with the seller to get us the best deal. So I really appreciate all of his hard work in this. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed seeing the plane. As always, make sure to subscribe to my channel, as well as click the notification bell beside that. You'll get notified every time I upload a new video. Also, please like this video if you liked it, and I'll have a lot more content coming from this Aztec, so stick around for that. As always, drop a comment, tell me what you think, ask a question on the plane or about the purchase process. I'm sure you probably have quite a few, because I didn't cover everything in this one video, so let me know down in the comments below. Alright guys, I think that's it for tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Bye.